Hook. When Mia first saw him, he wasn't barking or chasing anyone. He just sat there, a big German shepherd waiting quietly beside the old schoolyard swing. But then she noticed what was tucked beneath the seat, a crumpled piece of paper, not trash, a drawing, with her brother's name signed in the corner, the brother who had disappeared 5 years ago. Maybe the dog wasn't waiting for food. Maybe he was waiting for someone brave enough to look closer. Welcome to Saved by Tales. Before we begin this powerful tale of quiet loyalty and lost family, tell me in the comments, if you could visit one place from your childhood again, where would it be? And if you believe stories like this deserve to be remembered, hit that subscribe button, like and share. The schoolyard always felt bigger after the last bell rang. Most days Mia rushed home like everyone else, backpack bouncing, shoes kicking up dust on the path. But some days like today, she walked slower. The sky was the color of soft gray chalk. The wind moved gently through the tall trees lining the edge of the yard, carrying with it the scent of cut grass and something older, the quiet smell of rusted metal and worn wood. The old swing set stood near the back fence, where the grass grew taller, and the paint on the chain links had flaked away. One swing still worked. The other, the one with the cracked wooden seat and twisted chain, just hung there, tilted at an angle, unmoving even in the wind. Mia's brother used to sit there, before he was gone. When Mia first saw the dog, she wasn't looking for anything. She had been dragging her feet through the gravel, the locket around her neck clinking softly against her jacket zipper. Then she froze. A shape, dark and large, sitting beside the broken swing. At first she thought it was just a shadow, but shadows didn't have ears that twitched, didn't have amber eyes that watched her without blinking. A German shepherd, big, still, sitting exactly where her brother used to. Mia didn't move at first. Her fingers clutched the locket tighter, heart thudding in her chest. The dog didn't bark, didn't growl. He just sat there, head tilted slightly, watching her like he knew her, like he'd been waiting for her. Slowly Mia stepped closer. The gravel crunched under her sneakers. The wind pulled at her braids. She was close enough now to see the scar along the dog's front leg, a pale line through the fur, like an old story he couldn't explain. Then she saw it, something small and crumpled beneath the swing, tucked carefully under the wooden seat. Her breath caught. Her eyes flicked from the dog to the paper. With a shaking hand she knelt down and picked it up. A piece of folded notebook paper, worn and smudged at the edges. She opened it slowly, and there in neat blue lines was a drawing, 2 stick figures, one big, one small, holding hands beside a swing set, and in the corner, a name written carefully in block letters, Liam, her brother's name, the one no one had said out loud for almost 2 years. Mia's knees wobbled. She sat down right there on the ground, paper trembling in her hand. The dog didn't move, didn't come closer, just waited, like he had been waiting all along. When Mia finally stood up again, the sun had dipped lower. The schoolyard was empty. Her hands shook as she folded the drawing carefully and slid it into her jacket pocket. Before she left, she knelt beside the dog, her voice barely a whisper. "Where did you get this?" The dog didn't answer. Of course he didn't, but his amber eyes held something steady, a kind of quiet promise. That night Mia didn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the locket warm against her chest. Her grandmother's voice drifted up the stairs now and then, humming an old song. But Mia wasn't listening. Her fingers brushed the folded paper again and again, hidden beneath her pillow. At breakfast she said it out loud for the first time in months. "I saw Liam's name yesterday." Her grandmother froze mid-stir with the teapot. The spoon clinked gently against the side. "What did you say, sweetheart?" Mia swallowed. Her hands tightened around her cereal bowl. "At the schoolyard, by the swing." Her grandmother's face paled. Her voice softened, careful like when she handled the china cups. "Sweetheart, we've talked about this." Mia shook her head. "It was really there. A drawing. And there was a dog." Her grandmother didn't say anything for a long moment. Then, "Some dogs just wait." After school that day, Mia went back. She found the dog waiting in the exact same spot. Same tilt of the head. Same scar on his leg. She knelt beside him again, heart steady now. "I want to know where he is," she whispered. "If you know, show me." The dog stood slowly. His paws crunched against the gravel, and then he turned, walking toward the back fence. Mia's breath caught. She followed, step by step, and she knew this wasn't just about the swing anymore. It was about Liam, and the story waiting to be found. The metal fence creaked as Mia pushed against it, following the dog. The tall grass beyond was wild and uneven, bending beneath her boots as she walked. The schoolyard had always felt like the edge of her world. Past the fence was nothing but old fields and woods. At least, that's what everyone said. But now she knew there was more. The dog moved steadily ahead of her, not rushing, not stopping. His amber eyes glanced back now and then, making sure she was still there. Mia clutched the folded drawing in her pocket like a secret message. Her heart thudded in time with her steps. She had never gone past the fence alone before. After a few minutes, the grass gave way to a narrow dirt path, almost hidden beneath weeds and fallen leaves, but still there, just enough to follow. The trees pressed close on either side. The air smelled like damp earth and pine needles. Mia's breath came in small puffs of white mist. The dog's tail brushed gently through the grass as he led the way. Every now and then she caught glimpses of something else, pieces of wood sticking out of the ground, like old fence posts swallowed by time. And then up ahead she saw it, a clearing, and in the middle of the clearing a shed. It wasn't much, just a square wooden structure with a sagging roof and a rusted metal handle on the door. But the moment Mia saw it, she knew. This was part of Liam's story. The dog sat down in front of the shed, tail curling around his paws, waiting. Mia stepped closer. Her hands trembled as she reached for the handle. The door creaked open. Inside, everything smelled like dust and old wood. But there was something else too. On the floor in the middle of the shed, a small wooden box, just sitting there, like someone had left it for her. Mia knelt down slowly. Her fingers brushed the surface of the box. It wasn't locked. The lid lifted easily. Inside were two things, a flashlight and another folded piece of paper. Mia's breath caught as she opened it carefully. This time the drawing was bigger, not just two stick figures but a whole map. The schoolyard, the fence, the path, the shed, and beyond it, a star drawn in the corner with a single word next to it, home. Mia sat back on her heels, the paper trembling in her hands. Her brother had left this. She was sure of it now. Liam was out there, somewhere. And the dog, he wasn't just waiting, he was guiding her. Outside the shed, the sky was turning pale gold with late afternoon light. Mia tucked the paper into her pocket beside the drawing. She stood slowly, brushing dirt from her knees. The dog stood too, stretching his legs. Together they walked back through the clearing, down the path. This time Mia wasn't afraid. Each step felt steadier, like she was following the right story. Her story, and Liam's. When they reached the schoolyard again, the sun was low behind the trees. The swing set stood exactly as she'd left it, empty, still. But now she understood. It wasn't broken. It was waiting, just like the dog, and just like her. That night, Mia sat at the kitchen table long after her grandmother had gone to bed. The flashlight from the box sat beside her cereal bowl. The map lay open across the table's surface, smoothed flat with careful hands. Her heart beat quietly in her chest. A star marked in the corner, home, where Liam was, or where he had been. Mia wasn't sure yet, but she was sure of one thing. She had to follow it. The next morning, she left before the sun was fully up. The sky glowed silver blue, and frost touched the edges of the windows. Her grandmother's porch light flickered quietly behind her as she stepped onto the path, backpack slung over one shoulder. Inside her pocket, the drawing, the map, the locket, and her brother's name in her mind like a steady song. When she reached the schoolyard, Echo was already there. That's what she'd started calling him in her head now. Echo, the dog who waited, the dog who guided her. His amber eyes met hers in the early light, tail sweeping once against the ground. No sound, no bark, just ready. Together they crossed the fence again, down the path, past the shed, and beyond it now, further than Mia had gone before. The trail from the map wasn't just a line. It was real, marked with old stones, faint prints, signs she wouldn't have noticed without looking. The wind picked up as they walked. It tugged at Mia's scarf, pulling loose strands of hair across her face. But she didn't stop, not until the trees opened up once more. And there it was, an old train car, half buried in grass and leaves. Rust streaked along its sides like red paint, its windows broken, the door hanging slightly open, but whole enough to see what it had once been. Echo sat beside it. Mia stood still, eyes wide. She stepped closer slowly, boots crunching against fallen twigs. Inside the train car, it was dark, but not empty. There were blankets laid neatly in one corner, old drawings taped to the wall, and written in block letters along the inside panel, Liam. Mia's breath caught. Her hand pressed flat against the metal doorway. Her brother had been here. Maybe he still was. Her voice shook as she spoke aloud. Liam. But only silence answered, and Echo's quiet breathing beside her. She stepped inside, fingers brushing the edge of a folded blanket. It was dusty but not frozen with age. Used. Recently. Her heart pounded faster now. Her hands trembled as she touched each drawing on the wall. One of the schoolyard. One of a swing. One of a dog. Amber eyes drawn in careful lines. Echo. Mia sat down slowly on the metal floor, her legs tucked beneath her. She didn't cry, not yet, but her chest ached in that same steady way, like missing something, and finding it all at once. When she finally stepped back outside, Echo rose to his feet again. The sky was brighter now, golden light breaking through the trees. Mia knelt beside him, her hand rested gently on his fur. "We're close," she whispered. "I know we're close." The next morning, Mia didn't go to school. Her grandmother didn't ask why. Maybe she already knew. The sun was higher now as Mia walked, Echo beside her as always. Her backpack held the drawings, the map, and something else. A small wooden box she'd found tucked behind the train car door.
Inside it had been a note, written in Liam's handwriting. If you find this, don't be scared. I'm okay. That was all. No address, no signature, but enough. Enough to know he had been there, enough to know he'd waited for her to follow. They crossed the schoolyard slowly. The swing set stood exactly as it always had, tilted, quiet, waiting. Mia knelt beside the broken swing again. Her fingers traced the old wood, the cracked seat. Echo sat beside her, tail sweeping softly against the ground. This time she wasn't looking for messages. She was just remembering. A voice broke the quiet. Mia. She turned so fast her scarf whipped around. Her grandmother stood at the fence, one hand clutching the gate, and beside her a boy, taller than Mia remembered, but with the same eyes, the same uneven smile. Liam. Her voice cracked, and then she was running, across the gravel, past the fence, straight into his arms. Later, she'd learn the full story. How Liam had run away, but never far. How he'd been living in the woods, in the train car, afraid to come back, but leaving clues, hoping someone her would follow them. And Echo had waited too, bringing Mia where she needed to be. That evening, the village gathered again. The swing was fixed now, new chains, polished wood, but Mia liked to remember how it had been. She sat on the new swing, Echo lying quietly at her feet, and Liam beside her on the bench, together, not waiting anymore, because some dogs don't wait for food. They wait for family, for the right person to look closer, to listen, and when they do, that's when the story truly begins.